Is everybody there? Can you hear me out there? Here I am. Oops. Hi, everybody. How are you? Welcome. Jeff Kravitz. Let me get in a position here. Let me adjust myself. There you go. In the middle. How's everybody? Welcome to another edition of 420 Live. I am your host. And I'll tell you my name again. It's Jeff Kravitz. Just in case you forgot over all this time, over all these months. 90 days you've been coming with you. 3 months ago was kind of the last time I worked as a professional photographer shooting an event somewhere in America. My last event was with HBO. It was for Westworld. And I went down to cover one of their Emmy events. If you saw, they pushed the Oscars back. The Emmys is now going along as scheduled with Jimmy Kimmel as the host. So we're going to have some kind of virtual Emmys or some kind of Emmy Awards coming on. I'm sure you're all thrilled out there. I'm sure that's just what America needs right now is a big award show. Everybody's slapping each other on the back, telling everybody what a great job they've done. But, folks, we're in the upside down. I just saw the worst headline I think I've ever seen. It said 50% of Americans are the most unhappy they've been in their entire life. And I don't know about you guys. I'm not miserable, but, I've definitely taken for a loop for what's going on and what we've been through for the past couple months. But I wouldn't say I'm unhappy. I'm very grounded. It's just very interesting to be home this much and to be hanging out with my family and sitting around doing our thing and watching TV and picking stuff to go. Last night, I went to the airport and took 2 of my girls. I have two girls and a boy, and not girls and boys. They're men and women now. But my girls went to Atlantic City to see their grandparents or grandmom, and my brother Greg and my sister-in-law to go have a little summer fun down there. And it was weeks of negotiation with Jules and I to try to figure out, were we comfortable with letting them travel and everything that's going on? But, we said you could go, and they used miles to go first class because they thought that'd be better. And of course, the whole first class wing was packed, just absolutely packed with people. So, and the back of the plane wasn't that busy, but they made it. People are getting out, people are traveling. But I'll tell you what, driving around LAX, I thought it was a zombie apocalypse. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Everything was closed. Everything. It was 10 o'clock at night, but still used to drive around at 10 o'clock at night. LAX would be packed, and it's dead. Nobody's out there, and they're doing a ton of construction. So it's interesting to see the different things. Did I wear a mask the whole time? Did they? Yes, they have to wear a mask on the planes the whole time, Josh. So yes, they did. I don't wear a mask in my car alone. I don't understand people that do. Maybe you don't want to get yourself sick, but I see that a lot in Los Angeles. You see a lot of weird stuff. Masks, people wearing them around their chins, and you definitely. I went to Venice Beach this weekend, and that was interesting to see everybody out there how they approached it. What the guideline is: if you're not 6 feet away, if you're 6 feet away from people, you don't need a mask. So if you're sitting on the beach and you've got enough room, you don't need a mask. But if you're face to face or in enclosed space, you need a mask. So, I'm not going to be on the beach wearing a mask this summer. Trust me. Plus the tan line. Can you imagine that tan line? That would be horrible. I'd be like all white from here down. And then I'd be all brown and over tan from the top up. I'd be two-toned. So tonight, Tuesday, the band Phish has their Dinner and a Movie. Tonight, they're going to Deer Creek, 1995. Later in the show, we're going to talk to Andy Gadiel about that. But our first guest today comes from the Phish family, directly from the Phish family. It's Tessa Gordon. She is the kid of Mike Gordon, the bass player for Phish. And Tessa came out with this really cool video I saw a couple weeks ago as her senior project. So I'm going to start the show off by showing her video. So I want you guys to tune in for this for a couple minutes, and then we'll come back and talk to Tessa. not coming on? The sound's not working? Okay. So, all right. Sometimes the sound works, sometimes it doesn't. So let me try this one more time. Stop that. Let me just try this one more time here and see if we can get this to work. So give me 1 second. There it is. I think this is what I forgot. One more time. Let's try this again. All right. Share screen. Boom. And here we go. Is that better? Yes? Great. I'll be back in a second.
The sky is freezing, a fire. The ground is melting, ice. The wind is howling with fear. Souls are bleeding out cheer. The world is seeming so unclear, and no one knows what to think, what to do, what to say, and what to use. We're going off the edges of what happens now. We're going off the edges, trying to figure it out. We're going off the edges, cause the pain is in the crowd. Because the pain is in the crowd. Ooh, cause the pain is in the crowd. One day they told me to stay inside. First day it felt like my whole life. It made me think of my past. It all used to go by so fast and knocked me off the edge in one big blast. And no one knows how to fall, but stand tall and knows the birds fly after all. We're going off the edges of what happens now. We're going off the edges, trying to figure it out. We're going off the edges, cause pain is in the crowd. Because the pain is in the crowd. Ooh, because the pain is in the crowd. Because the pain is in the crowd. The pain is in the crowd.
Tessa Gordon. That was beautiful. Let's bring her in. Hi, Tessa.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
How was it? How is it watching yourself on a screen?
Well, I've seen it a couple times, and it's kind of weird to see it again. And it's also weird to hear myself, because I hear myself talking, but I don't normally hear myself as another person.
You mean outside of yourself? You're not usually outside of yourself listening to yourself?
And it's kind of odd to, no matter how many times I hear myself, it's kind of odd to listen to that.
Are you proud? Are you proud?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm proud of you too, and I've only met you once or twice in my life, and I was so proud when I saw you. How old are you?
I'm 11.
So you're in fifth grade.
Yeah.
And why did you make the video?
Our end of school project, the last project that we were doing, it's called a personal interest project, and so we get to choose what we want to work on. And mine was on music videos, and so, yeah.
So how involved were you with the making of it?
I wrote the song. My dad helped me a little bit, and I made the video. We put together all of the um, shots on. I don't know. The process was really fun because I have this big whiteboard in my room, and we put all of the shots on them, and then did that.
And then you were moving them around and playing with them.
Around and doing that, and that was fun. And then half of it changed when we were filming, but yeah, that was fun.
And whose idea to come up with all the looks? Like, I love the shot of your hair on the grass with the glasses.
The grass was my idea, and the glasses was just because I have such sensitive eyes. That I can't stare at the sun, and the sun was right up there. So that's a happy accident.
It looks great. I mean, that imagery is just so amazing. And I could see it was your dad or your mom helping you take this shot because you could see them in your glasses with the iPhone. So you shot everything on an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
And for the recording, the musical part, where did you record the music? Did Jared Slomoff help you with that?
No. We used. My dad helped me with the recording, and we used just some microphone that he has, and headphones, and yeah, we just did it in his office area on my iPad.
And was that the first time you recorded?
No, I've recorded some other songs, but that's the first song that I've officially done from scratch like that.
Right. And so you wrote all the words and you came up with the melody too, or did your dad help you a little bit with the melody and stuff like that, or how the structure?
He helped me with some of it, but not a lot of it.
Well, it's very impressive. It's got a very catchy tune. Do you think you caught a little bit of this music bud from your dad?
Yeah, definitely.
When was the first time you remember that things quite weren't as normal in your house as other kids in your class?
Because my dad.
Yeah, because your dad doesn't have a normal job like everybody else.
Well, in preschool, my dad was getting home. I think I was getting picked up from preschool, and we were about to go on tour, or he was getting back from tour. But I got picked up on the tour bus, and that's probably when I remember. I think he was coming home from tour, and he was picking me up.
And he picked you up in the tour bus from school? Yeah. Pretty cool. All the kids go, whoa. And what's your impression of your dad's band?
My dad's band my impression of it is it has a lot of fun. His band is a lot of fun, and sometimes they'll have someone backstage who they know and is a musician, and they'll just be like, hey, you want to come on? Just come on. Whatever you want, just come on. It's just a fun vibe, and yeah.
Well, the whole backstage area now is kind of a kid zone with all the other kids.
Yeah.
You guys are like a little gang back there. Do you go and terrorize the fans? Do you run out there and squirt them with water guns and stuff?
That's a good idea.
I'm sure they'd really dig it. Phish fans are a lot of fun, and the band is a lot of fun. And you're right, they're very collaborative. They like to work with other people, and they're come up with a lot of fun ideas. Do you have a favorite show that you've been to that you remember? I'm sure for you, it's not about their music, right? It's more about you being with your friends and having fun. Or are you into Phish's music too?
I have a couple favorite songs. I don't know all of the names of the songs, but I definitely recognize some of them. I can't really remember. I don't really know the most fun experience, but it's really fun to have my friends. If it's in New York, it's really fun to have my friends come and then meet all of my tour friends. So one of those experiences, probably.
It's a lot of fun. Do you have a favorite city that you love seeing Phish in?
I really like New York because we know it so well. A lot of our family lives in New York, so there's a lot of people backstage, and That's always fun.
It's always a good vibe.
Yeah.
Well, the backstage has changed a lot since we all used to hang back there when your dad was younger, when I was younger. So now it's a kid zone. So it's a lot more kid friendly, and you can feel the playfulness too in their music. What do you think the first time you saw the band your dad jumping around on a trampoline on stage? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that. I think I was probably around 5-ish or something. I don't know. I don't really remember specifically the time, but I do remember watching him and like wanting to go on the trampoline.
And I'm sure you did, right?
Yeah.
And have you figured out his moves, like how he does it?
I want to.
So you're 11. When was the last time you were in school?
I don't remember exactly, but it was probably 3.5 months ago, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, it was. I got to pick up all my stuff because we were gonna have a day. It was parent-teacher conferences the next day, so it wasn't completely crazy. Like just boom, you're out of school. But it was surprising because I thought we were gonna have at least a week more of school, and then I didn't. But yeah, that's less.
So have you been on the Zoom classes and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we don't anymore because school's over, but we had them 3 times a week, and that was fun because I got to see all my friends.
Was it easy? Did you find it easy to learn that way? My kids hate it.
It was more of the homework that we learned from. We kind of did a check-in on Zoom to like review what we have been doing. We didn't necessarily do a class, but it was fun to do it. I have Hebrew school, or I did, and then it's over now. But and we did like 2 hours, and we did learn there. We did do like an actual class, which was fun to do. And I think we get a lot done because the teachers can just mute us. And then we talk.
And all the kids are going at it. Yeah. Have you been social distancing with some friends, or you have a little group there that you've been hanging with?
We've been seeing some of our friends in social distancing. We are melded with one family that we see a lot. We saw them today. And my cousins were here for like 2.5 months, because they live in New York, and so they came up here for a while. So we were melded with them, and we've been seeing a lot of my friends just from 6 feet away. But yeah.
Yeah, well, it's kind of crazy, huh? How they just stopped everything.
Yeah.
So, what do you have planned for this summer? I guess camp's out, right?
Yeah, I think I had a couple summer camp things planned, but those are gone now. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna be here. We don't
hanging
really
out. And what does your musical future hold? Are you still coming up with tunes in your head? Are you still is music coming out of you?
I haven't been writing that many songs, but every night me and my dad sing a song, and we've been working on this project, a song called "Don't You Worry About a Thing," not the Stevie Wonder version, but the Tori Kelly version.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, and it's been taking so long to learn, but it's turning out great. And I think we're so close to being done with it. But I haven't been doing more music stuff. I just haven't been writing as often. But yeah.
Well, it's good. Are you going to try to make any more videos? I mean, I'm sure once you come up with a song, right?
Yeah, I think if I come up with another song that I want to make a video to, then I will. But I mainly want to do music.
Well, good. Well, you're an inspiration to all the kids out there. You know, not a lot of 11-year-olds out there have their own video and a song that's that cool. And I have to give it to you. You definitely picked up a little from listening to Dad when he's working in the studio. You could hear the influences of your dad and his music too, in your music, which is great because it's catchy and it's bouncy and it's got a great little hook to it. And I showed it to my kids, and they all enjoyed it. And we look forward to seeing a lot more great music from Tessa Gordon out there. So keep up the good work, Tessa. We're really proud of you.
Thank you.
That you want to introduce your mom and tell us a little bit about her before you bring her on?
This is my mother. I don't
Hi, Sue.
Hi, Jess.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, how are you doing?
Tell us how proud you are.
Oh my God, I'm so proud. I'm super proud. I shared it on social media. I've never shared Tessa on social media before. And I'm very, very proud. And I actually, at first I thought that Mike really had written the melody and lyric. Like I thought, how much could have Tessa done? But he sent me her demos and it really was her. I mean, that's all her. So yeah, I'm really proud.
I think it kind of blew everybody away. I'm sure it blew all your friends away. I know that. But also the fans too, because it's really inspiring. You don't expecting to hear stuff out of this as someone that's been around for a little bit more than a decade. You know, Phish has some of his dresses are probably 3 times older than you are. So how's everything going in Vermont? How's the family?
We're good. We're really fortunate and counting our blessings to be here in Vermont because it is one of the safer places to be right now. So we're still being careful and social distancing and everything, but I think there were 3 new cases in Vermont today. But we've had a lot of weeks where there have been no new cases. And we're also really lucky because it's so beautiful here and we have so much space to run around outside and we're just outside as much as we can. So
it was a lot easier once the weather got warmer.
Oh my God, yeah, because we had snow in May. So that was not a good day the day that we woke up to snow in May.
One curveball after another. And so what was it like for the house? I mean, your house must have been pretty much empty. Mike would be on the road, be out on shows, Tessa be at school, and now
it's completely bizarre. I'm used to having all this time at home by myself or in my office. So I didn't go to my office downtown for 8 weeks either. So it's been really weird to have everybody home and have everything canceled. Like Mike should have been away right now. Tessa had 3 different camps she was going to this summer. We were going to do 3 weeks of summer tour. So that, isn't happening. Yeah, it's bizarre. And as Tessa mentioned, my sister and her kids were here. They just left yesterday. They were actually here 3 months.
They were here 3 months.
They were here 3 months. Yeah. It was great having them. And it gave Tessa cousins to play with. So that was really
it's nice to have some people your age, I'm sure, because for the longest time we just had the kids in the house and they're like, we just have you guys to play with. This isn't much fun. I
know. I'm like, Tessa, do you want to help me cook? Clean? Yeah, she's like, no, thank you.
Well, who's the best cook in the house, Tessa?
Definitely her.
Definitely mom. Does Dad try?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Not that much.
Never. What are you
Not really.
He is busting out these recipes on Dinner and a Movie. Is that all stuff that you've made, Sue, or just?
I never made the Zahav. That was a really complicated one that we made that night. That cauliflower and the hummus and all of that. I made Trey and Sue's chili recipe. And then what else did we had? We had the ramen recipe we got from the ramen place because that's one of our favorite places downtown. So we had them make it.
So is everything back opened up there in Burlington?
We're still phase 1. So stores are open. Some businesses are open, but it's still pretty empty downtown. I mean, it's like desolate. It's weird.
Yeah, it's definitely been a strange couple months.
Very strange. Yeah.
And what's going on with Mr. Mike? How's he handling this?
He's doing great. I mean, he keeps himself really busy. He's got so many projects going on. So he's also he's got his routine. So he's doing like the 2-hour workout in the morning, an hour of bass practice or a large amount of bass practice. And then he's got songwriting he's practicing. He's got his album with Leo coming out soon.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever not had a project, and he keeps adding projects.
Yeah, he just came in
like, I don't, just right before this, he came in and said, we should build a tree house or something like that.
Is he handy with the wood and the saws and stuff?
He's not allowed to use a saw or
He's not allowed to use a saw.
because he's got to keep those fingers.
Oh, yes.
Circular saws or chainsaws or anything like that. But he's good with electronics. He's not going to like fix a faucet or something like that. But
wait, so was he telling Tessa to build a tree house, basically?
He wants to build one. And before he was saying we should get help from like professionals. But now he's saying we should just build what we can. And I don't know.
Great. I didn't know that.
Hey, well, that could be a new reality show.
Yeah, Mike building. You guys built a stage.
When I was like 2, we built a stage. And then maybe a year ago, we spray painted it. And we added a curtain.
Yeah, we have like a little wheeling stage, in case
you wheel around. Yeah. Well, Tessa, you perform with your dad. I saw you sing Pride of Cucamonga, which isn't the easiest song to sing either. How's performing? Do you get nervous?
It's the smaller the group, the more nervous I am because I know that the majority of the people are going to come up after me to talk to me.
Right.
I don't know. It's just kind of weird to know that they're actually watching me, but if it's a bigger group, then I know that not a lot of people are gonna, like, not everyone's gonna come up and say hi afterwards. But it's fun performing, and I like doing it.
Are you learning to play any instruments?
Yeah, I'm learning how to. I kind of know how to play ukulele. My dad's teaching me more, and I know the tiniest little bit of piano, barely any piano, but yeah.
But Tessa, I'm going to brag a little. She had her first gig in September at the Light Club Lamp Shop in Burlington. It was an all-star honky-tonk band, and Brett Hughes, Brett Lanier, Sean Priest, Marie Claire on keyboards, Mike on guitar. And it was a benefit for my organization, Steps to End Domestic Violence. And you raised $6,500. And
wow.
Yeah. So and she did all the banter, all the talking to the crowd, all introducing the band, everything. Oh, there it is. Steps. Thank you for doing that.
Sure. There's no period after org. So
no, that's all right.
That was me. But Steps for VT, that's the Instagram. Do you want to talk about a little bit about what Steps is involved in?
Sure, absolutely. So we're Steps to End Domestic Violence. We are the largest domestic violence organization in Vermont. We serve about half of the people that live in Vermont because we're in Chittenden County, which is Burlington, surrounding areas. And we've been around for over 40 years. It used to be called Women Helping Battered Women. But we changed the name in 2015 to be more inclusive because we don't only help women and we don't only have women working for us. And we provide a whole range of different services, emergency housing, legal advocacy, transitional housing, education and prevention.
Well, it's been a real problem with domestic violence during this quarantine because people are forced to be with each other that don't really want to be with each other. I saw something very interesting with people giving hand signs. Like if you're talking, that you could do a hand sign while you're talking to someone, so that if your partner's in the back who's maybe abusing you and you need to communicate to someone else and you can't say anything to them, and I actually remember the hand sign. Want me to show it to you?
Yeah.
It's this, and then that was the hand sign for domestic violence, which I found very interesting because it's communicating in a nonverbal way to people and giving them a message so they can know that something's happening to them when they can't necessarily tell people on the phone because their partner's monitoring their calls and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's one of the issues we've had is that people ordinarily have some window of time to make a phone call to seek out help, but often they don't have a chance because the person is always there. So we started a chat line so people can just be chatting, like they could be on their phone so the other person doesn't know what they're doing. But that's been a huge barrier for people seeking help. Also, the courts have been closed except for emergencies. and it's a pretty narrow definition of what's an emergency. So people have been able to go in and get what we call a relief from abuse order, like a restraining order. But if you wanted to go in for a divorce or custody or something like that, that's not an emergency. It's been shut down.
Yeah, well, we need the help. I mean, and it's good to have these nonverbal forms of communication too, to let people know that you're in trouble. So check out that hand sign, because I just saw it the other day on a call.
I've seen things like that, and we've talked about it. It's kind of hard to know. So that means the other person has to know what you're doing and why the person.
Right, but I mean, I was the first time I'd seen something like that on Instagram, where somebody was spreading this hand sign that this is what this means. And at first, I saw the lady hold up her hand, and I didn't get it. And then when I read the inside the description, the caption, I understood what was happening, and I was like, oh, "This is very interesting." I mean, it's interesting to think that we have ways to communicate to people non-verbally that could send help for us. So there should be some kind of universal thing that we could do like that to tell people. I'd like to be like, my kids are just too noisy and spending too much money, and I'd probably be me just going, right. Which happens too.
There's definitely a lot of retail therapy going on around.
Are you doing a lot of shopping? Spend a lot of, the Amazon guy comes over and it's a big day at the house.
And also I'm a gardener, so I'm just buying stuff for the garden and stuff like that.
Well, it's been it's been very hard for all of us Phish fans, all of us music fans out there, to not have our dose of live music and our friends. I see you face to face at the shows.
I hear you. I mean, it's the first summer in, I want to say, like 11 years, because you were a baby the first summer back in 2009. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Our whole life the rhythm of life has completely changed for us.
It has changed, and I'm sure it's changed for everybody. But I see a lot of silver linings. I see a lot of energy being conglomerated, and people being able to polish up themselves and work on themselves and stuff like that, which makes me feel good about things, because we have stopped, and it's allowed us to focus right now on the social justice issues in our country, which are tearing our country apart at the seams. It's interesting that everybody has to focus on what's happening now in front of them, and we don't have those distractions. So we're seeing a very interesting time in our history. So it's a good thing we're all paying attention, and I'm sure it's an interesting lesson. Tessa, our world's not always like this. Usually we're having a lot more fun. So, but, I'm glad our hands are the future of the human race are in the hands of people like Tessa Gordon, because they'll bring us joy and they'll bring us some good music, and they're out there thinking about ways to entertain people. And Tessa, I know you made a lot of people happy with your video. Nice work out there, and we're looking forward to your next video. So we're tuning in. Is there anything you want to say out there to your friends and family? I'm sure there's a couple people out there watching.
Hi.
Your sense of humor is very much like your mom and dad too, by the way.
Are you leaving now?
I don't know.
Are you?
Yes, you guys are free to go. Thank you, Sue. You see, it went very fast, didn't it?
That went really fast. Thank you so much for doing this, Jeff. I know a lot of our friends are watching, and it's just like a good way to bring people together that would normally be able to be together this summer. So thanks a lot.
Well, thank you. Thanks for your continued support. We love the Gordon family, and you guys are really important to us. So please take care of yourselves, and we look forward to seeing you all very soon. And Steps Vermont right there if you want a charity to get involved with. And thank you guys, and say hi to Mike. We look forward to having him on. Tell Mike he's on my list.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
All right. Bye. All right. There we go. The Gordon family. Tessa and Sue Gordon. That was my youngest interview so far. Tessa's 11. I don't know. I'll be looking forward to a 7 or 8 year old rapper or something. I'm sure they're out there too. A couple of business notes here, folks. We started a contest today, me and my friend Brian Raskin at Heady Old School Glass. If you go on my Instagram or on my Facebook, you will see the contest. You can enter. We're giving away a beautiful coffee/beer mug, and we're giving away this beautiful water pipe/bong for those of you that know what a bong is. that you could use while you're watching 420. We gave away the last one. The girl that we gave our last piece to during the 420 celebration was smoking out of a tin can that she poked holes in. So to say that we upgraded her game was an understatement. So you have to go on, you have to tag 2 friends that you would share the piece with, and you have to follow both myself and my friend Brian Raskin, a Heady Old School Glass. All that information is up there. So switching gears from family mode into music mode, but staying on the Phish plane, we are talking next to Andy Gadiel. Gadiel's Phish page was Andy's Phish page was, it was the way we communicated before there was this internet where things flew. I mean, there was still an internet. It was just that you had AOL. We all had AOL, and you would go on to Andy's Phish page, and they would tell you what was happening, what they played, any rumors. So we're going to bring on the Linkster himself, Andy Gaddy. Hello, Andy.
Hello, Jeff and internet.
The Linkster. That was your nickname, right? Back in the day?
Yeah, I don't remember that. But
you don't remember that? I remember people calling you the Linkster because they would just go on to be all the links that you needed were on Andy's page.
It sounds appropriate. I would link to a lot of things. A lot of linking. Hey, by the way, great to have Tessa and Sue on. Kudos to the Gordons. It was awesome. Speaking of AOL, Mike Gordon used to hang out in the Fishbowl on AOL as fake Mike back in the day. So
that's fake Mike.
Kind of brings it all full circle. But thanks for having me on your show.
Oh, well, thank you for coming. Tell us how you got involved with this crazy band. Because tonight's show was the first show you ever saw.
Yes. So tonight's show, Deer Creek 95, June 19th. I drove down from, I was going to college.
Why did you drive down?
We were at college at Michigan State, and my friends had seen Phish the year before, and maybe even the year before that, and had played them incessantly in our fraternity house, and it just sort of indoctrinated me into the music. And when tickets went on sale for summer tour, we called and got our lawn seats.
Oh, you still have your stub?
Oh yeah, sure. And so we drove down. We made a I guess it was a Monday, June 19th, and we were done with school for the summer and road tripped it to 2 nights, Deer Creek June 19th, and then Blossom in Ohio the next night on June 20th.
What other shows had you seen out there?
At Deer Creek, I went in 96.
No, I don't mean Phish. I mean other bands.
I never saw the Dead there, and I don't think I ever saw another band at Deer Creek.
Oh, just Phish.
Just Phish.
And well, how far is that from Chicago? 4 hours?
It's 4 or 5 hours. Well, I was in Michigan State, so we drove down from East Lansing. Yeah.
So what did you think? Like, were you blown away from the first note, or did it take you a couple minutes?
I mean, before the first note, I was blown away.
Just with the crowd and the whole scene and everything?
Yeah, so we had a fun experience going into the show. Apparently, Indiana doesn't observe daylight savings time. So we got there with breezy. We parked. We're like, oh, it's time to go to the show. We got to the gate, and they said, what are you doing? We don't open for another hour. So we're like, what the hell? So we walked around the lot for an hour. We sat on the – it wasn't a crazy scene in 95. And when they opened the gates, we were one of the first people to walk right in and leisurely made our way to the lawn and sat front row of the lawn all night and watched people just come around us for the next 2 hours. And then they kicked it off and opened up with Theme from the Bottom, which was a new tune for that summer. But I had already, heard Reba, which they played, and Antelope, which they played, and You Enjoy Myself in the second set. So I had heard a few songs, and they delivered. You're in for a treat tonight. This show, it's circulated, it's online audience, but I've never heard a soundboard, I don't think, and certainly have not seen any video from it since. There's nothing online video-wise from this show. So I'm excited to relive my first experience. The second set, Come for the Simple, Stay for the Bowie Mango song. Trust me, it's lights out, one of the best versions of all time.
I was reading a little geek knowledge before, and they said it was the first time that David Bowie came out as Simple. I didn't know that there was a second time or a third, or I'm sure there was, but
I don't keep those kind of stats anymore. I can't keep up.
You don't keep those stats anymore?
It's hard to keep up. I let the next generation.
You were never a stat guy, were you?
I mean, I was a geek, so I would pay attention to such things, but I left those kind of things to like I would link to ZZYZX and others.
Well, that's how I learned about Zizix was through you. You know,
he was doing it. I mean, why would I reinvent the wheel when he already had nailed it? And so I would go on and do my stats and have fun with it and print them out for sure.
And what was your second show?
The next night in Blossom. And then I loved it so much. My friend and I flew out to California for the Shoreline on September 30th, 95.
Tim O'Brien, right?
No, they did a tribute to Jerry. They did Lonesome.
Was that Misty Mountain Hop? And
no, that was a different year. This was the first time they had started the chess game. Was in 95.
Right.
At Deer Creek. You remember that?
Was that the first chess game too?
The first night of the chess game, they played White Rabbit while they did the chess game, and let me see.
That was so weird when they would pull out the ladder and go move the board. They
were trying to bring the backstage, what they did on the bus back up to the stage and connect with the audience. It worked sometimes. It was kind of fun. I saw a few chess moves that summer and then into the fall tour. And then, it kind of wound itself down by the end of the year. I did all 4 nights of New Year's that year, first time at Madison Square Garden. December 95, a friend of mine were just talking, like, really hope there's some true honoring of that month coming up later this year, because that was just a pivotal time for the band. Everything from December 95 is just phenomenal.
So this is the second 1.0 show to come out.
I was at the other one, summer tour opener 97, Virginia Beach. They did a couple weeks ago. That was a feb. I drove down as well a couple years later and went to the tour opener.
So it really takes a lot to get these guys to open the vault. I mean, we're 10 weeks into this, 8 weeks into this.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with the quality of the recordings and access. I mean, I'm sure they have all of it, but it's producing it and putting it together in a way that they can distribute and make available. Whereas all the shows from the last 10 plus years have all been produced. I mean, I've watched a lot of them on webcasts when they first came out, and then they're showing them again. So they've got that kind of in the can, but it's nice to see them mining the archives. We can only appreciate and encourage them to do more of that.
Of course. And these
we mean Kevin, thank you.
we thank the Phish organization, Kevin Shapiro, and all the fine folks over there for keeping us entertained every week, no matter what it is. We enjoy watching it. I mean, I
Michigan State grad and was at this show as well. Kevin Shapiro.
He was at this show?
That's what he told me. So we're very excited to relive it.
Well, I was at the Gorge show that was on last week, and it's very interesting to watch a show that you've been to again. Come on, and you're just like, okay, this was taking me back. And it's really interesting when you start getting into the 90s stuff, because all those recordings that they have recordings from every summer tour from all those sheds, because those were the recordings for the back lawn. So you got to see them on the video screen.
Which I did. Right.
What we'll see today is a lot of wide shots. We won't see a lot of sweeping shots. It'll be mostly tight stuff on the band and the way they're playing their instruments for the people that were in the cheap seats so they could see them. All the venues recorded the bands this way, and this is the way the bands has all these tapes, because Phish didn't record their shows back then, or at least with a multi-camera setup.
I gotcha.
Correct? Do you know this?
We're making dinner. We got dinner and a movie going in the other. We got the dinner part of dinner and a movie going.
So I think dinner's going to be a little well done tonight, Andy. Tonight for dinner. I burned the dumplings last night.
There they are over there. All right, that's so good. You
don't have to leave the house, do you?
I think we're all right. I think they've got it under control over there. That's really funny.
So how long before you saw your first show that you started the page?
That's a good question. I don't know. I started the page when I was doing a computer science class at Michigan State in the mid 90s. before all you kids had the internet and we could connect with each other instantly, you had to dial in, you had to use a modem, or you went to a computer lab. And people would whether they had a computer at home and would use the phone line, or they would go to a computer lab. And it was a miracle where you could bring up a web page, which was just a file on the internet that you could see on another computer. And my computer science class was really originally about how to build a computer, which was less than practical thing that I could learn at the time. But they gave you access to a computer lab, and they said, build a web page and build something you're interested in. And so I was like, all right, Andy's page, Andy's Phish page. And it kind of took on a life of its own from there. People who went online in the mid 90s went and looked for Phish information, and they found it.
Well, Phish was one of the first bands to really explode with the internet, correct?
Absolutely. And I think it was, the Dead before them had Rec Music G Dead, and there was a Dead Net and the Well, but it was in 1994 and 1995 that the World Wide Web as we know it today actually really took off, when Netscape and Mosaic first were launched, the original web browsers. And so at the time when there's sort of something new, and in 1995, 96, and 97, so many people were getting online for the first time and were trying to figure out, what is this thing? Why would I go onto the computer to look up information? And you realize, oh, wow, this is an encyclopedia of anything I want to know if I just find it. And there were early days of Yahoo and Alta Vista search engine.
The early days of AOL was you locked into AOL, and then to get on the web, you had to launch their web browser, right? And then it would take you to different things like your page and stuff like that.
Yeah, there were a lot of individual services like AOL or Prodigy and other dial-ups like bulletin board systems that you could go to.
Right.
And I actually learned to type on a 300 baud modem, dial-in chat system that you would communicate with other people in real time. And so those things just kind of evolved over the years as more and more people got online and were putting more information online. And I wrote along with it. I wanted to know what was going on as much as anybody else did.
So you were learning and discovering as it was first being launched and built. So that's why you were so on it.
I remember seeing the browser for the first time and having used computers up till then that were offline and then dialing in and just kind of all text-based. And then when I saw the linking and the visual web and that you could link to other pages, the linking, that really struck a chord with me. And then what was amazing about it was how communal it became instantly, where email was something that at school gave you an email. My family didn't have email and they all wanted it, but it was like something you got from your college. And people could email me if they knew about stuff happening that I didn't have listed. And so I would literally get emails every day when people would know about something that they assumed I didn't know because it wasn't on the site. And then I would just, update the page to stop getting email. And then
so how did the set list roll in? Were people just taking a quarter and going to the payphone right afterwards and calling you up, no matter where they were in the United States if you weren't at a show?
There was definitely some of that. I definitely got a lot of payphone calls. But in the early days, there was on Rec Music Phish, Mikey Perot was posting the set lists or was emailing out to a mailing list the set lists. And for some reason, they weren't making it on Rec Music Phish, or they were getting lost. And there was no web page that had them kind of archived for easy access. And so I would just copy them over and give him credit. And then people would, other people would see that and make corrections, or if they were at the show, they would email me right after. And so it was such a mix of folks that were getting involved in wanting to keep people up to date in those days.
And talk about how you took that into Jambase.
Yeah, so Jambase came right from that whole spirit, where I was really in the early the second half of the 90s was, as I graduated college, I went off and worked on a music festival in Michigan. This guy was putting on a festival. I was like interning with him and helping promote it, and he was booking all these bands, and he was trying to get people to pay attention to what he was doing, and he had done it once before. And then this year was going to go big and kind of take it on tour. And I was like, all right, I'm in. I'm out of college. I'm looking for something to do. The Phish page was kind of bubbling, but I was looking for something more in the music world. And in doing so, he wanted to make a magazine about the festival. And he had this idea of like, let's make the center of the magazine a poster for the festival, but then the rest of it is something we give away as like a promo for the festival, but we write up about the bands and we make it into like a magazine about these bands that are playing the festival. And the conversation evolved to be like, oh, that could potentially be like a magazine that somebody could look at. And it was an idea that kind of sparked off around this festival. Well, going out and talking to people and trying to get people to participate in the magazine, I connected with Dean Budnick, who was writing the book Jam Bands about the burgeoning scene of musicians that were surrounding us. And he wanted to make a website for the book, to promote the book. And so we registered jambands.com and made a website for the book. But then in doing so said, well, the festival had kind of run its course, and that's a story for another day. But the idea was, we could create an online magazine for these bands and make that jambands.com. So I started working on jambands.com with Dean in 1998 when it first launched. We had a launch party at the Wetlands. Shout out Pete Shapiro, thanks, who's a previous guest. October 23rd, 98, we had a jambands.com release party with the Disco Biscuits and O'Teal Burbage and Mike Keneally and The Slip downstairs in the lounge. And it was a launch party for the book and for the website. And so while that was focused on the magazine portion of it, this idea of linking and creating a link exchange for information was still very present in my mind as the technology was evolving. And so one of the parts of the Phish page that was getting a lot of attention was a section about other bands. So there was the Phish info. If you like Phish, here's all the Phish info. But then there was a whole section about just linking to the official websites of other bands. And people would email me other bands to check out, and it grew, and it was a big list of other bands. And I realized one day that if I ever wanted to know when one of those bands was playing in my town, I would have to go to all of their websites all the time. And I said, well, there's got to be a better way. Let's make a database. And so Jambase came out of that idea and sort of was, I moved on from Jam Bands and launched Jambase as a tour date, discovery tour date search engine, and grew from there.
Yeah, Jambase is an incredible resource for you to find shows and all kinds of shows whenever you're in a city. Whenever I go anywhere, I'm like, oh, well, who's playing? Who's playing tonight? Andy, who's playing tonight? Fucking no one.
Well, there are actually now, Jambase has done a great job organizing all the live streams for musicians that are playing live. They haven't gotten into the interview space yet, but we'll have to crack it. But they've got like Ross James right now is live in the studio. And
I am available for interviews, so I do weddings, bar mitzvahs, and circumcisions just for the tips.
I won't take you up on that. But there are every night, these artists, they've got to, they got to keep it rolling, and Jambase is organizing all of that live stream info, which I'm really
so Clayton says Phish is playing tonight. I didn't mean, I know they're playing stream. I meant live. And we'll talk a little bit about what Phish is doing tonight, because Phish has been raising a lot of money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of this, their Dinner and a Movie initiative. And the Water Wheel is their charity. This is the website for the Water Wheel. Water Wheel Phish is the little insignia there, if that's your Instagram. And Equal Justice Initiative is their recipient of funds this evening. And you have not a charity, but you're involved with Headcount, correct?
I am. I'm on the board of Headcount. I'm honored to participate with this incredible group of musicians and music professionals and advocates for voting, to register people to vote, provide voter information. Headcount.org. There's a big vote from home charge right now, where everyone should be able to vote from home.
How's the process going? I mean, because before Headcount was out signing people up at concerts and stuff like that, so that is all out now. So it's more of an online thing now, I would take it.
It's definitely gone virtual in a big way, but there are, to the extent that people are congregating, or there are opportunities to register people to vote in person, they're still doing some of that. But clearly the concerts and the tours being canceled is not the main area for that. But there's a big online presence. And a lot of it is about information. So getting people registered to vote is sort of the beginning of the conversation. Then when they go into the voting booth, let's give them information before they go in to know, at least have an idea, especially down ballot on some of the local races, which matter so much, of who are these people that I'm voting for. Or especially when you get to vote from home, the beauty of it is you can study. You can take time and research and look up who you're going to fill out the form for. And we've been voting from home for years and do mail-in ballots. We actually fill out our ballot at home, and then we bring it on election day to the poll and drop it off.
Yeah, I did that this year.
Yeah, and we're fortunate to have that opportunity to do that, but not everyone does. And so we're really trying to support the whole idea of equal rights to voting.
Wait, doesn't every state have absentee ballots?
It varies from state to state on all the nuances. And Andy Bernstein, previous guest of your show, can speak very eloquently and specifically about the different.
We're definitely going to bring Andy back in to talk a little bit about head count and do a little voter rev here. I see the need to educate. I've been trying as much as I can to tell everybody to get out there and get involved and to vote. I think it's very, very important.
It's really, this is such a critical time this year, especially affecting change and the movements that we've seen. It's heartening to see people making their voice heard. I hope everyone stays safe in doing so, but it's clearly needed. This has been bubbling for far too long.
Well, it's bubbling now, and it's in the streets, and we're seeing it every night. The protests, there had to be over 150,000 people on the streets of Hollywood this weekend, and out in Washington and in New York and all over the country. In Seattle, Atlanta is a mess right now with what's going on there. But, everybody's getting out and making their opinions known, which I think is the important thing. And I think we are mobilizing our voters with this. With everybody watching, everybody is more than interested in what's going on, and people are getting involved. I'd love to see how many people are registered. I know that one thing that I heard that's a fact, that in 2016 they had 300,000 people vote in the Democratic primary in Atlanta, in Georgia, and this past last week they had 1 million people vote.
Yes,
so they're up 60 some odd % in their voters, which portends very well. More voters means that more people of common sense are going to get out there and vote. So,
yeah,
Andy, we're
getting close to that time. I want to
coming up to close. Is there anything you wanted to throw in your 2 cents here?
I think it's great for you to help get the word out about these causes and organizations that you bring on your show every night. I want to give another shout out to the Rex Foundation, which I'm also involved with, which was started by the Grateful Dead and continued on over the last 15 plus years, even more, 20 years almost. It got rejuvenated. And in this time, they're giving money towards a lot of the professionals in the music world who are out of work and can't go online and perform. And so with like Sweet Relief and Backline, some of these organizations really trying to support the people who are behind the music and help produce it. It's really critical in this time.
You got to take care of all of those in the music need till they can all get back to work and making money. And me too.
Yeah. And I think right now, one of the beauties of what's happening is that people are providing entertainment or providing a relief from the insanity of the world so that we can get a little bit heartened, get a little bit of a rest and feel inspired so that we can come back out and be stronger and do what needs to be done the right way. So I appreciate all the artists out there who are streaming all the time, every night. I try to tune in where I can. And the work that you're doing to get the word out about those artists is great too. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Andy. I appreciate it. We love the Gadiel family. I butchered your name, so
I was told it rhymes with radial. That's somebody at work
early on
told me that. Well, I hope you enjoy the show.
Well, thank you. I'm going to go tune in right now. I got to go get tuned up and tune in. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Jeff. Good to see you. Bye, everybody. Have fun.
All right. There you go, Andy Gadiel. Did I get that right, Dave Margolies? And Tessa Gordon, Sue Gordon, thank you for being my guest today. Peace, love, happiness to everybody out there. The hug. Don't forget, go to my Instagram, sign up for the contest. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about it. We're picking our winners on Friday, Father's Day. So make sure you tune in and get ready. See you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.